Hello and welcome to another episode of Steelfur Speaks with me, Finbar, aka Steelfur, your source of flesh and blood news and content. Time, but always right on time when I plan to be. Does that make me a wizard? Potentially. All right. Sorry for the slow updates this month. I have been on the road. I have been in multiple different countries. I have been in America. I have been in Ireland. I have been in the UK. I have been in Berlin. I have been all over the place, and it does not stop as I am soon to resume my travels yet again as work takes me over. But I have not really had a time or a chance or anything like that to get these videos out there. But that will change. As always, as we lead into the summer, I get time to do some more deep and in-depth videos. What are we going to talk about this week? We're going to talk about the meta for Pro Tour London coming up in 3 weeks' time and some indications we've seen from recent tournaments. We are going to ask a difficult question, which is, does draft actually belong as a competitive format or even a format at all within Flesh and Blood? And then we're just going to see where the ramble takes us after that. First, let's just talk about high seas. Massive leaks while I was traveling. I think I was in an airport when all these heroes got spoiled. Obviously, you know, once something leaks, it's a good idea to just double down, but it is a bit sort of curious exactly what they're going to be, you know, announcing at the Pro Tour in London, obviously, because this has all been leaked. Normally, they announce new heroes at the Pro Tour at the next Pro Tour. They're not going to be doing it at this time. But, you know, I think everyone is still suitably hyped for this. I don't know if there's going to be a content creator preview schedule. We've kind of seen a lot of the cards. We've seen Majestics. We've seen Heroes. My thoughts on the Heroes. Gravy Bones, like, his aesthetic doesn't really do it for me, but he's all right. You know, it's a pirate captain. The name is just a bit silly. Partly reinforced by the fact that the second I saw this spoiled, I was immediately greeted by an ad for KFC chicken, and their new slogan is "All Hail the Gravy," and they just show a bucket of chicken being completely and utterly smothered in decadent, filthy amounts of gravy. And I see that just after seeing Gravy Bones. And also in the UK, Gravy Bones are a dog snack. I have them downstairs for my dog. They are a treat. You know, so seeing Gravy Bones is just a bit of a joke. But, you know, I knew, and we all knew, that there were going to be puns related to the Necromancer. And we've already seen Rigor Mortis. We've seen Chum, Friendly First Mate. There are going to be a lot of puns related to this. When we saw these spoilers, a lot of people said, "Ha, told you, pirate is a talent." And then this article came out, and people were like, "No, pirate is a class." And LSS have confirmed that it is a class. So these are our first, kind of like our second class, dual classed heroes, which is something that is supposed to be rare, but it is a good way to launch a new class. So, you know, by doing this, you can print a load of support for pirates, and then maybe there'll be a unique young pirate only hero in a set, or the next time that pirate comes out, it'll have a load of support. Necromancer coming out, obviously very excited for that. Don't know if I'm going to pick it up yet. Haven't really decided. I really dig the aesthetic on Puffin Hightail, but I don't play Mechanologist. I really dig the aesthetic on Marilyn, but I don't play Ranger. So I might pick up the Pirate Necromancer just because it seems like it'll be something interesting, kind of giving back that kind of Dromai-ish ally-based feel, which I did enjoy for a while. So maybe. But I do think Marilyn could potentially be something I pick up if I take up another hero from the set at all. I have ordered a case, and I've ordered a case because of treasure packs, because I'm going hunting for treasure. I have bought in, so I have ordered a case, but I don't yet know whether I'll be picking up any of these cards or whether I'll just be praying that there's like a, you know, something that goes stupid on price like Shelter or Codex that I can sell and make my money back. Super keen on the treasure packs. I just think it's really good. It's a guaranteed shiny card in every box, which I think we have missed. I typically am not fond of unique only cards, so I'm a bit wary that there are 17 one-offs in these packs. But, you know, it does make it exciting, and as we've kind of said before, as long as they're not mechanically unique and playable, then it doesn't really matter, right? I have next to me on my desk a set of the exact thing that I dislike. If I can find them just here somewhere. I was digging through some old like magic cards that I was going to not throw away, but I was going to recycle because I've just got too much stuff. And I found a Sheoldred. I found a Liliana of the Veil. So yeah, those are all up on Card Market now. But within this pile somewhere is 9 copies of Jack-O-Lantern, a card that I am still very frustrated exists. For the very reason I just said, it is mechanically unique and actually played in Vinset, but it was only available as a Halloween Armory promo. So as long as these cards, these 17 treasure cards, are just alt arts, then I don't really care. It does affect collectors because I know people who like to have a copy of every card with every art and every treatment. And obviously, if there are 17 unique cards, they're not going to be able to get one. But that ship has kind of sailed a long time ago, I think, in the Fab world, with those, 10 sketch promo cards that were put into Dust to Dawn, with, stuff like that is just unique. So I think that ship has sailed, pun intended. So I think we can get on with treasure packs. I am really excited for Treasure Island. This is the macro in High Seas, and I think the thing to note about this macro is it is a landmark, so it is unique, which means that there should be one in play per game. A lot of people have looked at this and said, okay, I'll have mine and my opponent will have theirs and we'll both use it to make treasure. But I want to emphasize that Treasure Island should be shared. You can only have one landmark card in play. That's if you play your Korshem, it destroys Library. If you play Mistcloak Gully, it destroys Korshem, etc., etc. So this exists. There should be one per game, and every hero is going to be adding gold to this and deciding when to let their opponent get gold. It's really exciting. It's going to create a lot of very interesting gameplay. I'm going to imagine if there's some games where this ramps up silly high and then you finally get some damage in, it's going to feel fantastic. Suddenly all your hero abilities are going to be on. But I also kind of do imagine the meta is probably going to be give and take 1 gold here and there. Don't let it ramp up too high. Give a gold, take a gold, maybe give 1, take 2, that kind of thing. It's not going to ramp up to 3 or 4 or 5 that often. Because I imagine there's going to be a lot of cards that don't necessarily block super well. Mech usually has blocks, but these ally cards don't block from hand. So, there is going to be ways to do it. And also, I think, if I'm just reading this correctly, it is hero attacked. Okay, so it doesn't work if you just hit an ally to get some treasure. This all art is gorgeous. Even this full art is gorgeous. Like the decision to get rid of the borders. This is how full art should be done. It shouldn't just be a clear text box. If you're going to make it full art and keep the text, then, by all means, just get rid of the border, make it look amazing. And this, on the flip side, just a full art marvel, fantastic. People are going to know what this does almost immediately. Having this is amazing. I wish I could go to Taipei for the premiere. I do not think I can, but I will be looking for one of these cards. And I do also expect there might be, rainbow foil of this for the premiere, but there might be a cold foil of this in the packs. On the new Snatch, I don't like this. I just don't like the way her arm is shaped. It kind of ruins the art for me. No offense. It just kind of, I know it's supposed to look like a snake. It's supposed to seem sinewy, but to me, it just doesn't look like a human arm. It's causing like a bit of uncanny valley for me. Also, like she swings her arm and petals come out. I don't know. I don't like it myself. I've seen some people saying they do like it. More props to you. I'm glad I don't have to chase those. And then all of these cards are great. This gravekeeping art is phenomenal. I really enjoy it. Gravekeeping obviously perfect to have in the set as a counter to Gravy Bones, both thematically and great. I like the theme of this pirate mechanologist. I don't not think I'm going to pick up mechanologist, but I really like the theme. I love the theme of Marilyn, of the hunting big game. I did say in my previews for the set we were going to get a big sea monster themed thing, and I suggested maybe it would follow the theme of the Norse faction in Gwent, where they hunt big sea monsters with harpoons. That's exactly what we've got, so that's kind of played out. I also like all of these. Like, I like Paddle Faster. I like Board the Ship, where it's just like, cool, all the dead people can just climb up on a ship, no problem. I really like all of the just mechanics of tapping an ally. It's really like neat solution to the Dromai problem. Now, the Dromai problem, in my mind, was what do we do when there's so many allies on the board that, you know, you kind of just win the game by building up allies. It's not really a case of these allies are giving me value and my opponent might choose to leave them alone. It's a case of I have played a ally, my opponent immediately needs to destroy it, because if they don't, I will creep them through on the value and they'll never ever be able to come back. So I do think it is interesting now to see potentially allies that may not need to be destroyed. Like Chum, for example, is just a 4 attack per turn. He has no on hit. He has a bit of a tanking effect, but you know, and I've heard some people call him, which I really love, Arglight Sentinel, which I do love. I mean, he's not Arglight Sentinel, but he is like, he has a similar effect. But like, you might leave this on the board for a while because it's going to soak 6 damage at any point. So you may as well just leave it on the board until you have a 6 power attack. Its biggest risk to you is that its biggest risk to you is twofold, right? It's that it fills the graveyard with Watery Grave, which you might want to get rid of straight away. And the other risk to it, of course, is that if they use it on your last attack, and your last attack is a 0 for 4 or something like that, then they can eat that 4 damage without actually losing this ally. So you do probably want to get rid of it earlier rather than later. But it doesn't end your turn. It's very controllable, and you can choose not to attack it. And the fact is that unless a lot of Gravy Bones' allies have Go Again, then all that's really going to happen with them if he builds a board is that he gets more utility rather than getting more damage, right? So you might not decide to kill them all straight away. One of my predictions, actually, is that we will get one ally that says tap an ally to attack with an ally and give that attack Go Again. So I think if you that means basically that for every 2 allies you have on the board, you can do 1 attack with Go Again, and that will be like the go wide threat. So there will be certain go wide threats within that ally basis, but otherwise it's just going to be a case of play something from the graveyard, attack with it after Compass of Sunken Depths, probably weave in Scar for Scars or the typical Go Again attacks, maybe a Rabble or 2, depending on how red the deck is, and then kind of just focus on getting some of these efficient combo pieces on the board that trigger the Watery Grave impact. I think he's going to be heavy on allies. I think this blue effect is going to be on his hero effect. It's going to be online a lot of turns if you can discard cards. I think he's going to have very limited blue allies. I think he might have 1. It'll just be a generic like 2 attack or something ally. But it will have the ability, the wonderful effect of being able to be put into a graveyard by something like Call to the Grave and then played immediately from the graveyard with Go Again that turn, right? And that will be a special effect. So a lot of his allies won't be blue, some of them will. Puffin just makes a lot of sense, right? You're going to get Go Again, you're going to get gold, you're going to use gold to crank, and then you're going to use the fact that you've cranked to basically deal damage, right? And this is great. Like, when this defends, you may destroy an item you control. This gets +1. If the golden cog is destroyed, create a gold token, repeat this process. It only blocks for 2, but you're going to crank the golden cogs. They last until the start of your next turn, so you're going to have some that are destroying themselves next turn. And guess what? When you do that, you're going to be able to block with them. It's going to have more than 3 block. It's going to block for 4 regularly. I think that's going to be great. You obviously need another way to crank, so you're going to play some items. I really like the idea of just tapping cogs to get effects, especially if you've already cranked them. That's great. You know, and then harpoons. Go fish is like whatever. You know, go fish is fine. It's interesting. It's great if you can fire a cannon. Until we know what a cannon does, it's not really worth speculating. The most interesting thing in all of this release is the announcement of the Japanese packs and the announcement of the discontinuation of the German, Italian, and Spanish versions of Fab, right? I mean, it's been known to everyone in Europe that non-English versions of cards are drastically cheaper. Even established players in those markets want English. It does affect accessibility of the product, and it does make you kind of question how well those foreign language products have been selling compared to the English. But then I guess we're in a stage where like TCGs are a luxury product, so a lot of the people who are buying them do have more disposable income, and in general, English levels are higher in people with higher disposable income in countries where English is the second language, because those are the people who went to more international schools. They went to the places where English is prized. They might have jobs that prize English. So, you know, it does make sense if the maths doesn't work out for the... I don't know what's going on there. Let's just mute that. Something started playing in the background. So, you know, if the numbers make sense, it just makes sense. The most interesting thing, not really the discontinuation of the foreign language, because they're either selling or not. I mean, if English is popular, then that's fine. Is this Japanese booster pack? So Japan has basically being given a smaller pack than 9 cards versus 16. The pull rates for the rare cards are the same. The pull rates for commons are less. And because they are less, the packs are able to be drastically cheaper. Right? And then Japanese Fab players are basically, if they want to draft, they're going to draft in English. Right? I want this in English, right? I do. I just want this in English. I want cheaper packs that don't have chaff in. If I was to move my camera, which I won't do, to the right of me is a giant box full of WTR, Arc, Crucible, Monarch, commons and uncommons and rares that I do not want. Right, I've tried giving them away. I've given away a load locally to new players. But ultimately, you know, I am thinking about moving house in a while. I need all these cards to start moving. And yesterday, I recycled 9 cases worth, which I've had since the start of the game. I've just had them in boxes, you know, Tales of Aria, Everfest, Uprising, all of this WTR and Arc stuff. 9 cases worth of chaff. I tried to give it away. In the end, it wasn't worth it. Too much work. So I'm recycling it. And ultimately, that has become a pattern for how I interact with Fab sets. I open a case, I get multiple copies of commons and uncommons I do not need, and I want the Majestics, the Cold Foils, and the Legendaries, and at some point, I recycle a large portion of those cards. So, do I want this? This is what I want. I mean, I want this. I want a lower in price cost booster pack box where I'm not paying for all of the draft chaff that I don't really want, especially as the price of a booster box is creeping up. This booster box with all of the cards in is 16,000 yen. This is 5,000. Like, this is 1/3 of the price. 1/3 of the price. Now, okay, let's put this in a bit in context, right? The Japanese market is a lot more price sensitive. The competition there is a lot more intense. But if you said to me, you can have your booster boxes at £50 a box, I'm probably going to say yes, please, can I have those? But you can't draft them. And that led me down a whole other rabbit hole as to whether draft should be in Fab. And I might actually leave that for another episode, because I think it is worth talking in and of by itself. I love and hate draft in Fab. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it. I feel like, for me, Fab is still the best expression of Fab. Is still classic constructed 80 card format. Nothing they've done on any other type, Commoner, Clash, it's not even official format, UPF, Blitz, none of that appeals to me. And even draft doesn't appeal to me. If you go around London, now I know this is true of where I live and might not be true of other places. I have had people on Blue Sky messaging me saying, no, our stores love draft. We do it sometimes. We can't get hunted. That's a problem. But in London, no one showed up for draft armories when I used to run them. People want to play CC. They want to play CC all the time. They view it as practice for the next competitive event. They view it as the proper format. They want to use the big cards that they paid loads of money for. Draft doesn't fire, and maybe I'm wrong. I haven't made it to an armory in a few months, just because I've been busy. But draft doesn't fire as often as it could, and paying this premium, because when you put it like this, it really is a premium. Talking about 5,006. I just want to point out how stark this is. So that £5,700 booster box, or 5,760 yen booster box, translates to 29.30 British pounds, we'll say. And we do have a very good exchange rate at the moment, so that's to be taken with a grain of salt. A regular price box, triple the price nearly at £80, £83, even with the good exchange rate. And a case in the UK costs 62,000. This is what I'm paying for my case. I think it's around 320, maybe it's 340, which is roughly £80 a box, right? So I mean, this matches up, right? We're paying roughly the same amount per box. Maybe it's a bit more. I don't know. It might be a bit more. But if you said to me, we'll take away your 9 commons and give you a box at half the price, how would I not say yes to that? How would I not say yes? It literally makes no sense to me as a competitive player. When I'm drafting for a tournament. I'm drafting for a specific reason. I rarely manage to schedule a draft for fun. It's like D&D night. In theory, it works, but actually in practice, it doesn't. And you know what? I don't think that Fab shines in draft as well as it could. Even with Hunted, what I'm hearing people say about it is you have to just lock in. You have to read a certain amount of signals, first few packs, and then you kind of just have to lock in, because if you don't lock in, you're not going to get the power cards. And that's not drafting. It's not when you're locked in by pick 4 or 5 or 6, that's not really drafting. That's like sitting around taking cards out of booster packs to build a deck with and opening good cards. Sealed, I've liked since the 8 packs came around, but that's fine. You can do sealed with anything as long as you just say the number of packs, right? You could do sealed with these Japanese boxes, just give people an extra 2 packs or something. I don't know. It's just a bit crazy to me. The price difference is a bit crazy, and I know the Japanese market is more sensitive and the exchange rate is good, but it is just kind of crazy. And I do wonder if they are floating this type of box in the Japanese market before bringing it to the rest of the world. And then we'll have basically our draft booster packs, which they'll print less of, and our set booster packs, which they'll print more of. And if they do print more of these, I'll be cracking them, right? I will be cracking them. Gravy Bones coming out with an armory deck. This is brilliant. New heroes, 1 hero per set, should release with an armory deck. That is perfect for getting new players into the game. I am concerned because he is the new class that he will sell out. In fact, he is already sold out across most of London, but that might just be people being cautious with their allocation. I do want to buy one of these. I also like the fact that they are now classic constructed and blitz enabled. That is just perfect. They basically have certain cards that you're told not to put in the Blitz version of the deck, and then they have the Classic Constructed version. That's brilliant. There was no reason that these shouldn't have been modular to be played in Blitz all along, but I just think it's fantastic that they are properly flagging that. And I think just having one of the heroes of a set come out with an armory deck to help new players get into the game is just chef's kiss. I guess the real question is, how many unique cards is this going to have in? Is it mandatory to have one of these? Or can you just open high seas? I imagine it will have some unique cards in. That will make it kind of tricky because new players coming in can't just buy a box of the set. They have to buy the armory deck. But that might keep the value up. I don't know. It depends how quickly it sells out. This guy is going to be very popular. Necromancer is very popular. Hopefully they print a lot of it. Okay, I've been talking a lot, but this is a bumper episode because I know you guys have missed me, and girls. I know you all missed me. Guys, girls, and everyone in between. We've had that talk before, so we're not going to have it again. But let's just talk through letters for London briefly. This was calling Christchurch. Viserai's gone, but even before he went, you saw Zen, you saw Enigma, you saw a bit of Syndra. Arachne slipped through the cracks, taking his place in the top. Kano and Nu, all very, very good decks. Conversion rate for calling Sao Paulo. Aurora's coming out in force. Decks that counter Aurora coming out in force. I don't know what Victor was doing. Florian seems to be quite strong. Nu seems to be quite strong. Enigma seems to be quite strong. Zen's still doing stuff. Syndra's disappeared, but that's because she's not really as good as Aurora. So all the aggro players are playing her. And then a smattering of other decks. This is hero selection to top 4 conversion. Aurora doing well. Enigma doing well. Lots of Florians, not that many converted. And then if we go to this team tournament, which I found very interesting, you obviously see the Auroras, the Enigmas, the Zens, Verdants, Fang, and Arachne slipped through the cracks. I think this is pretty much the meta. Add in Nu, and this is pretty much the meta for Pro Tour London. There is a question whether Zen will living legend before we get across the finish line or not. I don't think so, but who really knows? We did also see some Fire decks playing in the team event, but none of them made it to the top cut. There will always be people on Kano, so disrespect him if you dare. Verdant seems to have come in very strong after Viserai went, so I expect to see some of her. I think Aurora is still the top deck. She's still very strong, very consistent, very aggressive. Some people will be playing some of the other aggro heroes, the Zens, the Syndras, the Phais. Probably not as many, because when one aggro hero is good, you play it. Enigma will come out there nice and strong. People still want to play Enigma. She has really good matchups. Nu's still going to be played because a lot of people bought their Codex of Frailties and need to sweat it. And then I think we'll see some Florian. Prism looks really good, so we'll see some of that. I don't know what people are doing with Victor. We'll see a little bit of Vincent and those kind of things. I think still best deck, probably best other 2 decks, and then just a mix of the others as you please. But quite a wide open field, which I'm quite excited for. My prediction is that, to be honest, I think my prediction is Aurora will win the Pro Tour. Still a consistent deck, still really good. I wouldn't be surprised if either of the other 2 missed heroes, Nu or Enigma, won. Zen, I just don't see it. Florian, I don't see it. If there's some weird outlier like Jarl, maybe it could happen, but I'm not really sure. But that's my current prediction for the London Pro Tour. Take it or leave it. I personally am probably going to be either on Fi, because I'm a glutton for punishment, or I'll be playing Florian. I have considered trying to borrow the cards for Enigma, but not for Enigma, for Aurora, but I just don't think I can be bothered, and I'm going on holiday soon. And then I've got some other things on, and then it's the Pro Tour, so I can barely practice anyway, so I should play a hero I know. But also part of me is tempting towards Florian or Jarl. I do love an Icy Guardian. Oldhim has won me a fair bit of money in the past, so I wouldn't mind playing the new Icy Guardian. I also have all these cards for Syndra that I have bought and never actually played with in person. And I have Zen, who I love. So you know, do I want to play my Marvels? Do I want to play my Florian? Do I want to play? There's a lot of choices to be made and not a lot of time to make them. So I'll probably just default to a nice safe bet like Florian. Of course, as we've said before, I cannot play New, I cannot play Enigma. I do not own the cards anymore. I've sold out of those classes. And again, I don't really want to go through the effort of borrowing cards. So expect to see me on either a Ninja, because we love Ninja, or on a Runeblade, Florian, or on a Guardian. And I mean, there is a very off chance that I play like Ira or Vincent or something like that, but it's probably not going to happen. There is a chance I play Verdance, but I don't really feel like I've got the reps for her. So who knows? But I think Florian feels like a solid choice to me. Comfortable deck, seems to have some good play patterns. I feel like playing one of the ninjas seems like a good choice as well. Cosmic Awakenings. That's it from me. Just be prepared to deal with enigmas and auroras and news, and I think you'll be fine. And also, like, we should point to the Fang in the room. He did just do quite well on a stream, so people might be pivoting into him. He is a deck I would be testing against. I don't know how many people are going to show up with it. But, you know, people love warriors and they are gluttons for punishment, so I guess that could happen as well. All right, I'm Steelfur Speaks. I just hit 1,800 subs on YouTube, so, you know, if you're one of those people, thank you very much. Get me to 2,000 before the end of this year, maybe by June would be great. I'd love to just keep creeping up. I am sorry for the little bit of slowdown in content, but unfortunately when I'm on different time zones and traveling around the world, it's hard to always find time to do a video. But I will always be coming back at you with the latest Flesh and. So, meet you all soon. Have a great time, and I will talk to you very, very shortly.